Uh, Good evening, everyone. I have Coach Simmons here. He'll give an opening statement on the game and then open up to questions.
I need this set up right here. I'd like to know.
That's it. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Big time win. A lot of adversity, but the guys found a way. It's the mark of a championship ball club, and these guys showed character tonight. They showed grit. They showed resilience in the face of all kind of adversity. I don't know the official stats, but a whole lot of penalties on our end to not very many on theirs, but our guys found a way to get it done. And that's what it's all about. Defense stood up when it needed to, and was able to get a big time victory. So great to be 4-2, and as we get back into conference play, but really good to get a quality win against a team that's more than likely going to compete for the MEAC championship this year. So great to come and show that we can win on the road. Didn't play our best ball offensively. Obviously, got some things to clean up, work on. But again, we did enough to get a comfortable lead going into halftime, and obviously got to find a way to finish and close out. But we'll take it. It's much easier to make corrections after a win, and we'll get back tomorrow and get the film graded, make the corrections, and get ready to head up to Louisiana back in conference play to take on a tough Grambling team for another road game. So, but definitely glad to be sitting here on the right side of the win column tonight.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach.
Hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Congrats on the win, first of all. You mentioned your offense. You said you wanted them to play better. At the beginning of the game, it seemed like the passing attack was connecting. And then of course you had those a couple interceptions in the second half. Just tell me about just being able to get those complete games, offensively, and just the good points of the passing attack that was going on in the first half.
Well, I thought the first half we played really good football. We threw the ball really well, made some catches, made some plays, and we didn't run the ball very well. And that's something we got to continue to just work on and improve. We got to get to the point we can establish the run and be multidimensional instead of just being able to throw it. So, but they came out second half, made some adjustments. We tried to force some things. Jeremy's got to take what the defense gives them. And I think sometimes try to maybe do a little bit too much. And I got us in trouble with 2 interceptions. We knew BJ Davis was their best player, and he showed why. 2 big interceptions there, and they both led the touchdown. So I thought defensively, our guys stood up the entire game other than 2 big plays to Shaq Davis. And so when it got crunch time, they went to their ball players, number 5 on defense, number 1 on offense. And we got to find a way to neutralize teams, good players, and do enough on in all phases to play good football. But again, we'll grow from it, we'll learn from it, and we'll get better next week.
Coach, this is Gene Sapoff from the Charleston Post and Courier. Congrats on the win. As you've gone about establishing yourself as one coaches, young coaches in college football, how much do you draw on your experience as a quarterback at the Citadel and at Clemson?
Well, playing the quarterback position, I think prepares you for, it gives you tough skin. Obviously when you play in a football-rich state like South Carolina, they care about their football. They're passionate about their football, whether you're at Clemson, South Carolina, the Citadel, South Carolina State, or any of the other FCS or FBS programs here in the state, even Division IIs. So it gives you some resiliency because that every game, every play, you're being, critiqued. And so, it built some tough skin early on. And I tried to carry that into my coaching career and try to impart some of those nuggets of wisdom onto our players. And Jeremy's the same way. He understands the magnitude of playing the quarterback position at a place like FAMU. Everything you do is going to be magnified. And so, but yeah, those experiences were great experiences, but I think they gave me a little bit of a backbone to be able to be a head coach at a program that really cares about football.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, you touched on it, earlier this week about, your guys being able to showcase that they can win on the road and, in an environment that's not brag, obviously handled it, the majority of the game, Coach, but when things did get tough and their stadium got wild and crazy and, momentum was going the other way, you guys still locked in, like you said in your opening statement. How big was that for your guys to lock in for your defense, to lock in on that final drive for them and and just to be able to, like you said earlier, grind one out and get a big win on the road?
Well, I thought it showed great resiliency and character by our defense. The last 2 drives, they've given up explosive plays to Shaq Davis after turnovers, and they could have easily, quit. They could have easily started to doubt themselves. That last drive, everything they got was on penalties, pass interference, face mask, whatever. It did, like every time we made a play, there was yellow on the field, and so, the guys on the field kept their poise and composure. On the sideline, they got a little rowdy, but the guys that were on the field, they really dialed in and locked in and fought through some pain. There were some guys cramping in the second half. There were some guys that were banged up a little bit, but they found a way. And again, that shows extreme character by them. I thought our defensive coaches did an amazing job. Coach Smith is a defense coordinator, and the other assistant coaches really dialed in and had a great game plan. And again, you take away a couple of big balls by number one, and we hold that team to a relatively low output. So again, can't say enough about the job the defense is doing. They've shown the last 4 weeks now that they can play high level football, like we anticipated coming into the season.
Coach, congratulations on the win. My question to follow up on the adversity, how will this win can be used as a teaching tool for young men that are going to be leaders of the world as they graduate from FAMU?
Well, that's what we told them in the locker room. Football teaches us so many lessons about life, and oftentimes in life we find ourselves in situations that seem insurmountable. We find ourselves up by 6 with team driving, and it looks like nothing was going our way. But we had to figure out a way to continue to fight, continue to believe, and continue to, trust the process. And that's really what life is about. There are going to be times in life when we're going to look around and it seems like nothing is going right for us. We're going to seem like we're at our lowest moments. And it's going to be in those moments when we really have to test who we are, and our true character will come out. And so the team showed character tonight. And again, I think that character will carry over into their lives after they finish here at FAMU. And I'm blessed and honored to be able to coach such a strong-minded group of young men that don't fold to the pressures that a lot of people will. These guys are resilient, and they've shown that throughout this football season that they're a team that can be knocked down and get back up and continue to fight. So as long as they keep that in their arsenal, they're going to be successful in life.
Coach, y'all have officially reached the halfway mark of the season. Of course, y'all started off 0-2, had some trials and tribulations early into the season, but now y'all have won 4 straight games. Tell me, what are some main takeaways that you've seen for your team from day one to up until now?
Well, aside from what I just talked about, those guys being resilient and fighting, defensively we're really starting to put it together. And we didn't get to the quarterback maybe as much as we would have liked tonight, but I think we affected them enough. But we're playing really good football on all 3 levels. Up front, they're doing enough to stop the run game. Our linebackers are playing fast, sideline to sideline, and our DBs are making plays on the ball. We had a couple of interceptions tonight. So again, I think we're coming together on that side of the ball. Special teams wise, had some big hits in that phase. Offensively, we just got to continue to push through with an inexperienced offensive line. Really 5 new starters are up front right now, so again, those guys are still coming together. We're still trying to establish the run game, but it's not because we don't work at it. Those guys work extremely hard at it. Coach Henry's a great football coach, and we'll continue to figure out what we need to do to establish that. But, after 6 games this season, I see that our team has a lot of character, a lot of fight, and they're really starting to believe and understand how good of a football team we can really be.
Then another question from me, Coach. I saw Isaiah Land leave the game early. Is there any update on his status?
He came out early, took a shot to the knee, went back in for a little bit, and then they pulled him out. So I hadn't gotten an update. But he was right there cheering his team on the entire time, So I think he'll be fine. We'll get an update tomorrow, more than likely. And again, he's a tough individual, and this game's a tough game, but I think he'll be a guy that can push through, and hopefully we'll get him back 100% next week. Because again, he's our best defensive player, our best player overall, and we're definitely going to need him.
Coach, you touched on just this team being able to figure themselves out and learning that they can be a really, really good football team. In that growth and maturation process that you continue to hint on, just being able to still, like you said earlier this week, pick up resume building wins that you guys need and desire. Any way that you can get them, how much more important does that make what you guys were able to grind out today?
Well, again, I think a lot of times, people just look at a score and they see a final score, and you look up and you see 20-14, and you don't think much about that game from the outside looking in. But people who study the game, who understand football, when they see what type of win this was on the road in a hostile environment, with a lot of adversity, I think it really speaks to how good a team really is. Because you look at a football team, it's more than just their record; it's their resume. And their resume is, how do they win? How do they compete? How do they withstand adversity and overcome it? And ultimately, what they're building as a program. And I think when you look at those things and you see how we started and you see how we're playing now, I think we're building a really good resume that shows people that we're one of the top football teams in the country, in my opinion. And hopefully people that study the game and that are watching closely are starting to recognize and realize that same thing.
One more question for Coach, if anyone has any.
Coach,
Yeah. Sorry, Coach. I'm gonna get it, G.
You gotta go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll take both of them. Go ahead. Go ahead, Gerald.
Well, Coach, I was just saying, you talked about, just wanting to, get those wins on the road. You say your team, you feel like, y'all are comfortable at home, but you felt like y'all had to bring y'all own juice to the road games. Just tell me about just one of those away games are down. You got another one in Grambling State next week.
Yeah, to be a postseason team, you got to win on the road. And so this is our first road win, and it gives us a lot of momentum. We have another road test next week. And so we kind of now have played on the road 3 times this season. So we're getting used to the routine. And so we'll need to remember that and make sure we're doing the right things to prepare ourselves mentally and physically to go into hostile environments. And so really looking forward to this week. This week we'll enjoy a 24-hour rule, and we'll get back to work tomorrow to start on the Grambling State Tigers.
Yeah, Coach, keep that things up. I noticed we tried to get the tight ends in a little bit more in this game. Was that purposeful, or was that just they were open and Germany was taking them when they were open?
Well, tight ends have always been a big part of our offense. Not necessarily as pass catchers, every down, but again, they are more than adequate. And so when teams start to key on number 19, number 10, number 85, those tight ends can sometimes find themselves, open in some opportunities. And so I think Kamari made the most of his. JP had an opportunity there late. I think had a chance to hit a touchdown pass and missed it. But again, those guys are very vital within this offense. Their versatility, their ability to move around and create different looks for the defense really gives us an advantage. And so again, maybe not as every down pass catchers, maybe not every down as inline blockers, but just their versatility and being able to be a receiving threat and a blocking threat definitely makes our offense, a little bit tougher to defend. So, we'll continue to grow that position and use it as we see fit. And we think we got some good players that can really help us, at the tight end spot.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Coach.
I will send a recording and a game book shortly.
Hey, Josh.